California, where Rona talks about the punkers. Rona?
Tom, rather than say anything about our piece, I want to show you something explosive. Part of a recent performance by a New York-based group called The Plasmatics. The band's manager, Rod Swenson, calls this bizarre mix of pseudo-violence and hardcore theatrics comic rock opera. Another group, one from California called the Surf Punks, even more clearly incorporates comic overtones into its act. But punk rock isn't all fun and games or just a sick joke. The phenomenon not only has a darker side, but already is so widespread, it is flourishing in Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco, and Phoenix. Punk appears to be a culture that transcends traditional barriers of age, sex, and color. In punk caverns such as LA's Anti-Club and the Hideaway, dances like the Slam predominate, as this footage from Huntington Beach, California's Channel 50 shows. Recently, the punk phenomenon began surfacing from the underground clubs, and Hollywood attempted to cash in on the scene with a punk manifesto called Times Square.
We are going to do everything ourselves, because we know better than them what we want. We'll show that we are human beings and not dogs.
Can't you hear me howl? Leave me. I'm a damn dog now.
And now mainstream Jim Jones. Adopting outlaws like Manson as quasi-idols is one way to shock millions of Americans, and shock value is uppermost in the minds of many punks. Conventional middle class or materialistic values are openly ridiculed as punk music, images, and attitudes proclaim. Laugh at us, even hate us, but no, we are different. But many of these rebels are our own children. The majority of punks seem to be young wasps who masquerade at night in leather and chains, yet retreat by the light of day back into the fabric of our society as students, waiters, you name it. For that reason, some observers have dismissed punk as yet another fad with a surface show of flesh and flash masking nothing more than an advanced case of adolescent panic. It is supposedly meant to shock or even offend, but not to hurt. A group from San Francisco called the Dead Kennedys features lead singer Jello Biafra, whose Something to Offend Everyone approach is frankly intended to both outrage and amuse. But in recent months, it is here in Los Angeles where punk has taken on hardly harmless and distinctly violent proportions. A band from Hermosa Beach, California called Black Flag has earned a reputation as a group with a particularly violent following.
Tomorrow, don't tell me what I get. Break apart, just around the corner. Gotta go, baby.
Local punks often put much of the blame for violence inside and outside the clubs on either the police or a hardcore fringe element of punks. Since near-lethal eruptions had marred 3 of Black Flag's concerts earlier this year, we took our cameras for a first-hand look on October 24th when the band headlined the bill at an East Hollywood hall. But Black Flag barely got a chance to play that night. Only 1 hour after the concert began, the police was summoned. Why?
You know, these kids are willing to pay and come in and have a good time, and now they're getting out of hand because they want to close the show down. They came to see Black Flag play. The owner and the police said that we had to put a stop to it a half hour ago.
Why?
Because there's minors in there that are stoned. I mean, I think if things had been kept under control, if we had let people in and all the bands played, I think we could have, this wouldn't have happened.
Well, the kids can't afford to get in, so sometimes they're hanging around outside, they get bored. Somebody says something and somebody throws a bottle, you know, or something, and that just starts it. And the police think that something bigger is going to happen. So I do fear that someone's going to get hurt. But a lot of people that get hurt is just because they like to fight, you know, and they're just, but they think they're having fun, you know, they don't really mean to.
Sergeant Whites of the LAPD.
The owner decided that he wanted to close the establishment, and he requested us to stand by. We did so, and the people that were inside with the group asked us to stand by and wait a couple extra songs. We did. We waited a couple other additional songs. They refused to close up. They refused to quit the music. We requested the owner to turn the power off on the music. He said he couldn't get to the music, couldn't get to the power, couldn't turn it off. They refused to leave. He requested that we go inside and clean up. He had received a lot of damage from the inside as to property. Therefore, we went inside and had the individuals that were inside exit the location.
Could you tell me what was just happening there? Was that blood on the floor? And what was this Zig Heil, Zig Heil? I mean, that to me brings up the Nazi movement. Is the punk movement part of the Nazi movement?
No, that's the police. That's the Nazi movement.
The police is the Nazi movement?
Yeah. It's a preemptive effort to stop the shows. It started 2 years ago. There was a gig in LA called at the Elks Lodge. That was the first time that happened. The police came, no provocation whatsoever, made an effort to stop the gig. They came in, there were no exits. A phalanx of armed officers came through and beat the living crap out of a lot of kids and told them never to come back. Okay?
Why are the police against you?
I think that it's probably because they're scared that it represents change. Change scares anybody who's part of an existing structure, you know, like families, anything that you got, your job, the, you know, your kids are walking the street.
Something you're settled into.
Yeah.
You know.
Status quo.
As you might surmise, my guest tonight took part the other day in the film effort that we brought you, and I'd like to now introduce you to them. Here is Garry Leonard, a photojournalist who hardly looks the part but calls himself a punk. Next to Garry is Daphne Vendetta, the manager of a punk group called Mad Society, which is led by 11-year-old Stevie Metz, the little boy that you saw in our film piece, who held the spike. And next to Daphne is Chuck Dukowski, who plays bass with the controversial Black Flag group. In a moment, we'll be right back with our guests to discuss the punk rock movement in Los Angeles and elsewhere in America. But right now, these messages. Look, I readily admit that I know very little about the punk rock situation, and I'm trying to understand it. I mean, what are punks? Who are they? Where do they come from?
I'll tell you, most of them come from upper middle-class families. They're basically well off, but they're rebelling against authority, parents, school. They're just changing. It's history repeating itself, actually. I see it. The hippie movement is the same. There was a lot of violence with the police then, and in the 50s. anyone would consider with rock and roll was a juvenile delinquent. And it's all starting all over again.
But
Rebellion.
But tell me, I noticed on our piece and everything, there was a girl with a safety pin through the cheek, and there seems to be so much violence attached with the punk movement. Garry, why?
Essentially, the punks want to stand out. They want to be unique. It's a new generation.
Let me ask
they
you
want
this,
something
though.
that...
Yes, Chuck.
Do you think that there's more violence associated with it than there is, say, in the people down the street in a cowboy bar, or a Mexican bar where they have fights every night, or people cruising the avenues?
Well, it seems, Chuck, certainly from
American phenomena.
From the media's point of view, that you people are displayed, are shown more in a violent mood than the fellas that are the cowboys that at the bars down the corner. And so I just want to know, what is the attitude? I mean, doesn't it hurt when you stick a pin in your cheek and a safety pin and walk around with it? I mean, I don't know. I've never done it.
I've never done it either. I'm sure it would
either.
But then why is that associated with the movement? I mean, why does there appear to be so much
Essentially, they want to
violence?
say that they want to be alive, that they're alive, that they're here, and they're not part of the establishment that's there.
Shown that they're different, they're individuals. It's gotten to a point now, when it first was, it was just individuality, basically. But now everyone dresses the same, it's all clones now.
Well, I mean, basically now there's a great deal of leather and chains.
That's right. Right.
And kilts, this week kilts.
Kilts, right. This week it's the kilts, tomorrow who knows. But it's a form, saying, I'm different, I'm not one of you. I'm doing my thing, and I don't care.
The establishment as it is, the music that's being put out, doesn't apply to us. We're different, and we want to point that out.
Open things up again.
Yeah, open it up again. Make it alive.
There's been a great deal of violence attached to the concerts of the Black Flag. Who's responsible for that? I mean, do you think the kids come because they know that they're going to get involved with something that's dangerous?
Yes, they go there for the intensity of the event. It's a tribal event. It's alive.
The music is aggressive, okay?
Yeah.
Very aggressive, very violent. Music. It's an outlet. The actual violent acts are not present. There are very few fights. I'm up there on stage. I don't see that many fights. I'll see more fights in the bar across the street, spill onto the street.
Then how come we
every
always
day.
see the police there?
But the action,
police don't understand it.
The action at the gigs is violent. It's very aggressive. People come there to get drained, to let that out. Hey, it's a desperate world, I mean, maybe 4 years from now, it's all going to be gone. Yet people want to go on living, and they still go on and make plans, and maybe they're going to have kids or whatever. But living in the back of their head is that desperation. And the only thing that makes you feel better is to be so drained that it goes away.
Chuck, where do you come from?
I lived in San Pedro. My parents were middle-class parents, and my dad works for TRW and designs communication satellites. I went to San Pedro High and then a private high school, Chadwick. I was on the varsity football team. I went to college for 4 years, majored in psychobiology, and now I'm here.
And you, Daphne?
I'm from Canada originally. My mother's an East German Jew. And my father, well, he told me to lose it. He told me to lose his number a long time ago. But they're a middle-class family,
And you, Garry?
Good upbringing.
San Fernando Valley, Sherman Oaks.
And how do your parents now react to what you're involved in? I mean, I look at you, Chuck, and I don't see many people walk around with a Tommy Hawk kind of a hairdo. I'm quite sure you'll probably say, well, many people don't walk around with my hairdo, but the point is, what do you folks say about this?
They'd be much happier if I was busy breeding, right? But to be honest, there wouldn't be any place in the future that I gave up on for my kids. So I'm out making an effort to keep things moving, to keep change going on. My parents, at the same time, they admire me for doing it because they didn't do anything. Right.
And you, Dad?
Well, they don't like it, but they know I'm going to do it anyway, so they try and support me. My mother, my sister, they help me out.
Do you think you're making a change? Do you think you're making a difference?
I'm trying to. The media just doesn't understand it. They talk about all the violence and this and that, and there's really, within the kids, there's no violence. With the police, there's violence. you know.
Why
They
don't you
understand-
think the police understand it?
They don't understand the dress, the look, the Nazi swastikas, safety pins, or anything.
Well, I find it a little difficult,
It
personally.
scares them.
It scares them, right?
Well, the Nazi swastika scares me too a little bit. I mean, because it represents something to another generation that really is quite fearful.
Yeah, sure.
The whole thing with all of that, the symbols and the leather and the chains, it's an effort to alienate the past, okay? And what scares the police so much about it is that it's a militaristic uniform for change or for just plain rebellion. Rather than going like this and holding a flower out to the cop, the kid's got spikes on his arms and a leather jacket, and he looks like if there were 50 more of them, they'd be very, very dangerous.
So in other
and their
words,
activity is more aggressive too.
It's one authority sort of threatening another authority, and the other authority doesn't particularly
No,
like
it's
being
people
threatened?
thinking for themselves and authority being threatened by that.
And also the dress, the manner of the dress and all that, it's a threat. And everyone thinks, oh, these punks are so ugly, and who would want to someone like that or something like this, you know? But hey, these bands have sex appeal. They have their own look now. I mean, you can't say someone like him isn't good looking, you know what I mean? No, really. These bands have sex appeal, and it's just something that no one understands. They don't understand it. They're not inside. They're not dealing with it.
But they don't want them to understand.
Gary, you
because
gave up a lot.
Yes, I did. I gave
Tell
up
us
a lot.
about, you know.
Well, I essentially was inspired by punk. I saw what was happening. I saw that they were creating things happen. The established doors being closed to the music that was happening, and them saying, "Hey, we're going to make it happen for ourselves. We're going to pop out our own records. We're going to come out with our own magazines."
Were you so
And,
dissatisfied with your own life?
It wasn't alive. I mean, it was mediocre. It was establishment.
What
you
were
know?
you doing?
I was in the building business. You know?
And that was just real establishment, and you didn't like it?
No, and got out and became a photo documentarian, and this is the most alive thing that was out there.
I really have
Yeah.
one question I'd like to ask
Sure.
all of you. Where do you think you're going to be 5 years from now?
I'll be doing the same thing. I'll be out just photographing whatever's moving in society.
You, Daphne?
I tell you something, I won't be like the last generation.
Meaning?
Like the 60s, the hippies then, who are now running the record companies and are so closed-minded, and at that point everything was, hey, everything's this and everything's
But
that.
this is just going to get swallowed up again.
but I'm always going to stay open-minded to everything.
And you, Chuck?
Disrupting.
In 5 years from now, you'll still be disrupting.
I wonder if Black Flag takes off.
Maybe
you
not
know.
Black Flag.
But something else.
Who knows? Maybe I'll have a house and 10 kids.
Well, I'd like to thank you
I can't
all.
really look into the future that
I wanted
far.
to say
You
something.
can't look 5 years from now?
Well, I can look, but who knows? Maybe I'll be dead.
I wanted to say something. We're talking so much about violence. I tell you, the most violence I've ever seen was a food fight at Okie Dog. You know, I mean, that's about as bad as it gets, really.
Well, I'd like to continue this conversation, and I hope we'll get a chance at some other time to explore the life of the punk rockers. I thank you all for coming, Garry Leonard and Daphne Vendetta and Chuck Dukowski. Thank you all very much. Now back to Tom in New York.
Okay, Rona, sure makes Monopoly seem boring, doesn't it? We'll be right back from New York and Los Angeles after these announcements, so don't go.